Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the tier 10 Royal Navy light cruiser the Minotaur, and I'm using these modules and commander skills. Also, this match happened on stream, so you might have already seen it, but the commentary is new. So, I spawned near the seaside on hotspot to try to help my Shimakaze cap. I went also towards the seaside. And I'm in a very specific position right now. If you notice the island straight ahead, that one would protect me from torpedoes, and if an enemy comes I can smoke here. And once my smoke dissipates, I can easily accelerate behind this island that's in front of me. So this is some kind of, this is a position that Royal Navy light cruisers really like being in, where their nose is pointed in a way where they can easily get behind an island once their smoke disappears. But we got C uneventfully, no enemies actually came around, so I'm gonna go towards B and try to find some enemies to shoot, namely that Zao and I guess this Z-52. The Minotaur is not very good at long-range fights. She fires many shells, like an absolutely monstrous amount of shells. However, because it's all AP and it's a cruiser, well, they bounce quite often and the damage isn't always the highest, not to mention the shells are fairly slow, so you can miss quite often. But this Z-52 is very close at 7 kilometers, you know, you're gonna hit quite a lot. And I used my Hydra because I was afraid of potential torpedoes from the C-52. Also, one of the things you should note if you're playing against a Royal Navy light cruiser, especially Minotaurs, Edinburghs, Neptunes, they have an insane amount of damage per minute. But because it's all AP, it'll only work if you're showing broadside to them. If you're pointing your nose at them, then many of the shells are going to bounce. Also, if you just saw, I took 20,000 damage in one salvo just now, before my smoke actually activated. Probably like one guy just shot me and that was it. Fortunately, the Royal Navy light cruisers starting from tier 8 are incredibly good at, or incredibly good with their heals. Also, look at the amount of shells that Zao is taking. That's just crazy. But if you look at the counter, 15. I had 2 penetrations and 15 bounces. And there's like another 2 bounces and, well, the pens are ramping up now. But as you can see, it's not very easy to hit targets at this kind of range even. Okay, so I accidentally, reversed out of the smoke, but it's alright. Luckily nobody actually shot me. That's the good part about it, and I went back into the smoke again. But I think the smoke is going to dissipate very soon, so I'm just gonna leave it. Another thing that you should pay attention to when fighting against Royal Navy light cruisers is that they have very strong concealment. 8.9 kilometers on my current ship, which means that you can be surprised by them. Because they aren't as stealthy as destroyers, but they are stealthier than any other cruisers, I believe at least. I think that should be true. And they can do an absolutely monstrous amount of damage very quickly if you're, showing them broadside. If you're not, however, then it's very easy to negate them, especially as something like Yamato or Kurfürst. I'm thinking of actually making a video now of taking like a Yamato or some other high tier battleship or maybe a Montana into a bot match against like, I don't know, 10 Minotaurs or something. And just show how even if they fire a billion shells at you, if you're angled properly, almost all of them are going to bounce. However, I said that she has, the shells aren't very fast, but because she still has fairly good range, she can fire over all kinds of islands because of it, because the shells have to reach far, and if your shells aren't fast, then the only other way to go far is to aim very high. I don't know why those shells right now fell into the island. I think there was some kind of an error with the, oh my god, error with the targeting system, but I just did 5,000 damage to a Montana in 1 AP salvo. But she is showing broadside, and because it's so far away actually, I'm hitting the deck armor more, because all the shells are coming down from above. And because the US battleships have very weak deck armor, you are very likely to penetrate for very high amounts of damage if you can actually, of course, hit, because if you notice right now, many of my shells are actually not hitting properly. But once they are, they're doing a lot of damage. Also have to note that if they are actually falling onto a gun or something similar, then they can't deal any damage, because even if they penetrate, they deal damage to the gun rather than the ship's HP. But look, I'm just dealing 2,000, 3,000 damage every salvo, and, you know, there's many salvos coming at once. And I guess that's goodbye to the Montana. Okay. So, we don't have any cap zones. The enemies are probably gonna take B soon, because our Hindenburg at B seems to be dying, and that Benson is likely to cap. Hopefully we'll be able to take the C cap zone, but it appears that an enemy is actually blocking it. On the bright side though, it does mean that we know where the enemy destroyer is, or at least likely. Although considering I'm being fired at by AP with this kind of rate of fire, I'm not certain that's a destroyer actually. But luckily, the concealment range of these destroyers is these cruisers is very good, so I disappeared. I'm gonna torpedo that smoke randomly, and hope for the best. Okay, I think it's the enemy destroyer, because those are torpedoes incoming. Although it might be, you know, Royal Navy light cruiser. Yep, that's the enemy Minotaur. Oh well, the good thing is that I have vision of him. I know where he is exactly. He can't see me though. Well, I guess he can now. Unfortunately, I can't fire over this island, but I think one of the torpedoes might actually hit. Nope, never mind. But the Minotaur is running, which means that I will be able to get a sort of drop on him. The thing is though that it's not very easy to get a drop on a Minotaur, because she has the fastest turning turrets, but look at the damage. 4,000, 4,000, 1,700, and it broke a gun, so he can't really return fire. 2,000, 3,500, and dead. Like, the damage per minute on the Royal Navy light cruisers is very strong. But it's mitigated by the fact that they are AP, so... Oh, that's an enemy Minotaur. But it's mitigated by the fact that it's AP, so if you angle properly against it, they will most likely bounce. However, you should keep in mind that the Royal Navy light cruisers have better bounce angles than any other AP, I believe. Even if I claimed otherwise in the Pensacola video yesterday, it's not quite certain. At least, you know, it's not as good as Royal Navy ones. Okay, I'm gonna go slightly forward because this island is blocking my fire, and we're gonna take the cap zone anyway, so perhaps I'll actually just go towards the B cap, because we really do want it. We have 280 points over 560, and I am visible, which means that there's a the Benson is, or another destroyer is somewhere that could see me for a while. Luckily though, I fell into concealment, so we know that he is not within 8.9 kilometers of me, and unfortunately I did not actually get to fight the enemy Minotaur. By the way, notice where my RPF is actually pointing. It's pointing behind me, which means that there is a destroyer there. And I really don't want to fight one. Yes, right now I just noticed that RPF was pointing over there. And I actually believe that's an AFK DD, because you probably shouldn't be in that kind of a location while while the game has been going on for 11 minutes. There really is no reason to be in that kind of scenario. I could understand if I were visible, then maybe that destroyer would be like plotting a torpedo strike on me, or trying to catch me off guard or similar, but I haven't been visible for a while, so that means there is no destroyer. Also, it means I found out why I was spotted earlier. So I believe that is the second destroyer they have, but since she's AFK, well, we'll have to kill her anyway, or we would have to try to get to max points, so I'll do just that. But honestly, I think this is actually a very good thing with RPF, that you're able to track down destroyers, because I think one of the reasons why RPF was actually even thought about, or at least one of the side effects of what RPF is going to do. Okay, so I just used Hydro because I am not certain that destroyer actually is AFK. Maybe he's just playing dumb, I don't know. So I want to use Hydro to make sure I don't get suddenly surprised by torpedoes. But yeah, it appears that she is AFK. Okay, so what I wanted to say, one of the perhaps side effects, I don't know, or maybe it's intended, but oh my god, look at the damage on the Shimakase. Jesus Christ. That damage output, oh my god. Okay, so one of the side effects of RPF is that perhaps Wargaming wants to rebalance how destroyers work in this game in some fashion. You see, right now, or rather before RPF was added, the thing is that a game where there is a carrier in play versus a game where there isn't any carrier plays out completely differently for destroyers. If you're in a destroyer and there aren't many enemy destroyers on the other team, like maybe let's say there are 3, then if there is no enemy carrier, what you can do is you can fairly safely say, if I don't want to die, I will not die. Because if you don't go closer to enemies, you will not be spotted, and you're very, very unlikely to be caught off guard by something. And RPF would at least give a fighting chance to ships that don't have that kind of concealment, to try to hunt down that destroyer. Also, that Kurfürst is finding out just how nice the weather is today. A chance of shells. I don't actually know what they call it in English. When it's not like rain, but it's called hale. Yes, that was essentially hail, except instead of ice, they were steel shells. Alright, the enemy team seems to be capping B, so the Benson is over there, and I can tell by priority target that I was targeted. The Benson just went behind an island. I have to keep in mind that that Benson might have torpedoed me just right now. However, because I am a Minotaur, well, I will likely be able to dodge any of the incoming torpedoes at this kind of an angle. Okay, so now the question is, what does the Benson do? If she pops out from behind the island, I will be able to fight her. And the way I'll try to keep myself safe from the Yamato is by utilizing smoke. Okay, so she came out from behind the island, and I am visible to the... Wait, actually no, I take that back. And Benson might still be hiding. It's the Yamato that was... Okay, there she is. Hello, broadside. Yes, like I said, don't show broadside to Benson, and this is goodbye. And, well, the torpedoes all missed, because a Minotaur is just very, very maneuverable. So, now they only have one Yamato left, and I took the B cap, or defended it, I'm sorry, and I guess I can just utilize smoke and hope those shells don't kill me. And they did not. So, hello Yamato, and well, this is, like I said, the AP shells have better bounce angles on the RNCLs, so you can't really not... Even if you showed as much broadside as he did earlier, well, that's not good enough. But look at this. I'm not actually dealing that much damage to this Yamato while she is pointing her nose towards me. Yes, there's like 1,600 and similar damage amounts, but nothing like what I did to that Montana or the Kurfürst. But anyways, she eventually fell. Most of the damage was done by somebody else, actually. From the side. So, 426,000 credits, 4,700 experience. Confederate, First Blood, Kraken Unleashed, 181,000 damage, 512 shell hits, and the majority of them actually were penetrations, which is slightly surprising. 6 ships sunk, but only 1 citadel hit, because the penetration on these shells isn't the greatest, and I didn't really fight many enemies that were able to be citadel that easily anyway. Because I can't citadel battleships, I can't citadel destroyers, and, I didn't fight that many cruisers. 3,147 base experience, while number 2 is at 1,974. Very good result for me. I do believe that finding that AFK Shimakaze was rather helpful. Okay, and that guy's name is Gablamo. It seems like something... I can remember a name like that. Also, notice how it said earlier 512 shell hits. In here it actually says that I had 513 shell hits. 1.2 million potential damage taken on a Minotaur is very good. 46,000 damage because the heal is just amazing. And well, 215,000 credits profit without premium. Think about that one. Without premium at tier 10. Very strong result. Like, I didn't actually expect this to be without premium, without seeing the screen. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, then like it. If you disliked it, then dislike it. And I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon now. Thank you very much for your continued support, Ikaros, and I hope I see you guys next time.